This is an NBC29 special report. Good morning. I'm Sharon Gregory. Once again, the eyes of the nation are trained on Charlottesville as friends, family, and the community say goodbye to Heather Heyer.
First off, it stopped before it even got started. About 10 minutes before noon is when they actually called it. We saw a lot of the alt-right members filing out of the park. At that moment, we were down on Market Street. I think you guys were in the park. And it was at that moment that I thought, wow, are they actually telling them they have to leave? Then we overheard the police saying that this is an unlawful assembly and that they had to exit the park.
But first, this noon hour, more unrest outside a Charlottesville courthouse where the man charged in connection with a fatal car attack appeared in court for his first hearing. James Alex Fields Jr. is accused of plowing his car into a crowd Saturday following the Unite the Right rally. That went before a judge for the first time today. He had a brief hearing in Charlottesville General District Court. NBC29's Henry Graff is live.
HD News at noon.
A lot of eyes are on a Charlottesville courtroom this afternoon. It is happening right now. A hotel is on fire on Emmett Street in Charlottesville, and that is very close to grounds. So lots of students in that area, and I bet a lot of that hotel sold out for graduation coming
just
up
in about 10 days.
Yep, we're gonna have to look into that. All right, well, tonight a Madison County Sheriff's deputy is on unpaid leave after an investigation we now know started last year.
Some of the people told me that some of those bottles were actually, they had pepper spray in them. So when they would hit the pavement and bounce up, you know, you thought you were seeing just water bounce up. And as soon as someone told me that, I wondered why I was coughing and feeling that itch and that odd taste in my mouth, because anybody down here got a good gulp of it at one time or another.
You're watching the end of a memorial service for 32-year-old Heather Heyer. She, of course, is the young woman who died when that car barreled into protesters on Saturday on Charlottesville's downtown mall at the 4th Street crossing. Several speakers getting up and talking about what Heather stood for. Tonight, people in Charlottesville call for the charges to be dropped against those arrested during and after a KKK rally in Justice Park. The group Solidarity Civil showed up in force outside Charlottesville Police Headquarters and General District Court this morning.
News at noon.
A manhunt is underway right now for a North Carolina couple authorities say is tied to a shooting in Nelson County. The city of Charlottesville and law enforcement leaders are facing a lawsuit from a man who says they failed to protect him and others during the violence that broke out August 12th at the Emancipation Park.
Pardon me, you're not going to talk. Are you going to declare it a non-lawful emergency assembly? No? Okay. All right. Thanks, sir. They're not saying anything right now. Obviously, no comment at this moment about whether this is going to become an unlawful assembly.
Someone has stepped up to the podium there at the memorial service at the Paramount. Let's listen in. Lynn Herr appeared in court this morning, but because of some paperwork issues, her court date is now reset. NBC29's Victoria Rezzolo went to that hearing. She joins us. She's in our Charlottesville newsroom with the details. Good afternoon, Victoria. Time now for a look at the top stories we are tracking at this hour. Police say a North Carolina couple tied to a shooting in Nelson County is on the run. A Charlottesville-based political expert is weighing heavily in on President Trump's response to this past Saturday's rally and car attack. NBC29's Pete DeLuca sat down with Larry Sabato today. He's in our newsroom with the details. Hi, Pete. Charlottesville Police Department is under scrutiny again for its Stop and Frisk program. The latest data for the first half of 2017 shows stop and searches are happening more often, and for the 5th year in a row, they show 70% of them involves African Americans.
I haven't seen any arrests, I will say that. I heard all the announcements that if you do not leave, you will be arrested. I wonder if that's what they're gearing up for right now, because as you see, they donned their riot gear. Some of them even donned gas masks while in the park. I saw that. We also, we had assignments today, just so the viewer knows. Henry was covering the alt-right. I was trying to cover the protests, the anti-protests part of the rally. So we were down on the street, and that's where we saw so many of those fights break out. We noticed a few in the park, but when you're down on the street, it's difficult to see what's going up inside that park because it is elevated above the street.
You just heard from Reverend Alvin Edwards of First Union Baptist Church with the message that it's not how many days you live, but how you live those days and that we all need to understand that every day is a gift. He says that is what Heather understood, and she died fighting for her beliefs in justice and equality, and she had passion, and he urged everyone in the audience to not let her death be in vain and to have patience as well. Burned a cross in Stanton is guilty of destruction of property. Last spring, 30-year-old Josiah Carey burned a wooden cross outside Marcus Memorial United Methodist Church in Stanton. A large crowd in Houston gathered to pray for victims of this weekend's rally in Charlottesville, which included a local woman. Erica Chavez wore a University of Virginia shirt to support her daughter, Natalie Romero, who goes to UVA. Nissan is recalling more than 54,000 cars because their curtain and seat-mounted airbags could unexpectedly deploy when the door is slammed. Eric, thank you. President Trump and House Republicans are celebrating a legislative victory right now with a vote to repeal and replace Obamacare. Now the bill is in the Senate for an even tougher fight. Blaine Alexander has an update on the vote that came right down to the wire. Tonight, we're learning the next steps for the redevelopment of one of Charlottesville's affordable housing neighborhoods. Architecture firm Grimm & Parker will lead the design phase for Friendship Court. The surf is up in South Padre Island ahead of powerful Hurricane Harvey. Thousands of Texans are evacuating inland to cities like San Antonio and Dallas. Once Harvey makes landfall, the system is expected to linger for days and could dump an unprecedented amount of rain across the strike zone. NBC's Jay Gray is in Victoria, Texas tonight. It's one of the areas expected to take the biggest hit.